Hey kid, bored?
Yeah.
You want to play a brand new, exciting action game on your Nintendo Entertainment System?
Sure. What is it?
It's Mega Man 2, the sequel to Capcom's sleeper hit. This game introduces more environments, more crazy power-ups, and more villainous robots. With 8 levels of intense danger, it's your job to take the super fighting robot Mega Man all the way to Dr. Wily's castle and save the day. Can you handle the task? Can you handle the manufactured challenges and unbalanced difficulty?
Sure.
Great, then I got one thing left to say.
It's about time Mega Man 2 got sleazy! In the entire span of the Mega Man franchise, survey says that Mega Man 2 is the golden child of this series. But I want to take off the nostalgia glasses and dig into this game as much as I can. After all, when the majority of the games are perceived as meh, something's gotta be a problem, and it smells fishy that there's only like 3 that the fan base accepts. For the record, I'm playing the US normal mode because that's the one we got, so shut the fuck up. It starts with going up this skyscraper, and at this point you gotta be wondering what's at the top. Who could it be? What could it be? Could it be Bigfoot? Keiji Inafune? Adam Brody from the OC? So many theories! But by the time you get up there, of course it is. It's the goddamn Mega Man. And when you see him, the music goes into high gear and you know you're in for something great. Having to step up from the first game, Mega Man 2 added 2 more robot masters to pick from, going from 6 to 8. This means more stages and a bigger mystery figuring out which weapons work against who. All these options give the game both freeform and strategy. It's interesting that the series has stuck with this 8-stage formula, even adding 2 new ones to the Mega Man 1 PSP remake, Powered Up in Time Man and Oil Man. You think that maybe one entry would have maybe 10? Either way, we have a wide range of robots like Metal Man, Airman, and Woodman, but then we get some that don't sound very threatening, like Bubble, Flash, Crash, Clash in the Japanese version, Brash, Jeremy Borash, etc. To be fair, Mega Man 1 had some weird ones and Gutsman and such, but still, it's odd. The first time I played this game was when I was a kid. My brother had a friend who brought over his NES with a few games, this being one of them. For whatever reason, I chose Flashman first, so I'm going to choose him first here. The first thing that confuses me is this. Where am I? Is this glass? Is this ice? I'm slipping around, but this certainly doesn't look like an icy cave. Also, everything is flashing. I mean, it makes sense given the boss's name, but it still doesn't help me figure out what this location is supposed to be. I just hope I don't get there and he's that kind of Flash Man. Spoiler alert, he isn't, and I take care of him with ease. After this, I progress through some of the stages. What the fuck is this thing in the sky? I can't even think of a joke to put in here. And then there's these fat fuckertards trying to push me off. Then at Quick Man stage, there's a bunch of laser beams that kill you instantly. I don't have trouble with it personally since this isn't my first time playing this game, but I can certainly imagine a newcomer trying this and feeling discouraged to try out the rest of the game. I'm sorry, but that is not good game design. It just injects fake difficulty by using memorization over actual toughness. That's unfair difficulty right there, Quick Man gimmick or not. Then I'm at the stage most veteran players will flock to first, Metal Man. And they said Metal's dead. Well, it will be once you beat this robot whose whole thing is that he's, well, metal. And now we got what can be considered the most broken power in Mega's arsenal, the Metal Blade. Why is it so good? Well, because it shreds through most enemies real fast and you have an almost unlimited supply of it. Point being, it's amazing. Now, it may sound contradictory of me by saying this, but I see this as a bad thing. With this one weapon being so good, it makes the others feel shitty by comparison. The fact that half of the bosses are weak to it says something. I don't think I ever use Heatman's weapon over this, and sure, there are times where I do use other weapons, but you won't look to them the same as this one. Each power-up should feel a similar importance like in Mega Man 9, which I feel did this the best out of any Mega Man game. With the Metal Blade and previous upgrades, I take out Crash, Wood, and Bubble Man, even with all those sea men he shot at me. And then I get to Heat Man, you know, the Zippo with arms and legs, and his stage which has the franchise's popular appearing blocks. This part sucks because even though there's a section that tells you about blocks appearing over you, when you get to where it matters, you still can't anticipate it unless, again, you've played this before. That's really telling you how deep the pool is and then throwing you in the deep end. Thank God for item 2 so I can skip all of this. So now we're at Dr. Wily's castle. I'll admit, I like how it makes you use your items to scale the outside. With that said, it's overly done to the point where you need to start farming for energy. And get used to it because it's not stopping here. Especially with this dragon boss, since if you die, you get sent back enough to where you'll need to use more item ammo instead of right before the boss like against the robot masters. And it's easy to die here due to the blocks you're fighting on are over a pit, and 9 times out of 10, the knockback from the fireballs will be enough to send you to your mega doom. It's not like the controls are bad either, they're really good. It's just bad level design once more. Wily 2 is more item forcing. Again, making use is fine, but when the whole basis around these games is the freedom to try new ways to go about challenges, this plays against that whole notion. Wily 3 is less of that, but it's just another uninspired gimmick stage. This looks like watery turd soup, by the way. Speaking of crap, Wily 4 is when shit hits the fan. Mainly towards the end, you come across this hallway with Sniper Joes everywhere. In tight corridors, there is no way to avoid them. This is horrendous! After that, we have this boss called the Boo Beam Trap. In terms of item forcing, this is the worst. Not only the only way to kill it is with the Crash Bomber, but you have to use all of it to win. You can't miss. You can't even hit a single wall unless you die and come back. Holy cow, you should not force item usage to this extent. What were they thinking when they came up with this boss? It's also a pain when you're using the item 1 to move around or the Crash Bomber, since you can't switch weapons until one of them disappears from the screen. That can take a lot of time and potentially cost you a life. Fuck! Wily 5 is just the boss refights, and most people come to think of this as whatever, but no! This is stupid. It's once again fake difficulty by making you waste ammo and health, and ultimately a waste of time. Mega Man 1 and even Mega Man X did a lot better where it will spread out, making it feel a lot smoother and fair. But at least we learned that Metal Man can be one-shotted by his own weapon. After beating Wily, he escapes and...
surprise, motherfucker!
There's a second skull on his castle, and this leads us to the real last stage. The quiet ambience is real atmospheric, with the blood dripping from the ceiling. You know, the Japanese version had a subtitle, The Mystery of Dr. Wily. So this adds to that. And it turns out that the mystery that he was an alien all this time. Ooh. But it's another boss where you have to use a specific weapon against it. So we beat him, and it turns out it was a fraud all along. This is another short-sighted twist that would plague the franchise for the rest of humanity with an ending with, aha, it was me all along, Austin! Before you all with your keyboards and flaming fingers of fire go hate on me for tarnishing your perfect game, let me make one thing clear. I do not hate Mega Man. I do not hate this game. I like Mega Man 2. It's not a bad game. It has good graphics, it has responsive controls, and it has a phenomenal soundtrack. It's not my favorite, but that's subjective. Mega Man 2 is just incredibly flawed, and a lot of that, I feel, is really overlooked. A lot of that comes from the fake difficulty. It makes you learn by dying. Cheap placement of enemies and traps are favored over actual skill. That's like going to your first day of school, having a test, failing it, and having your teacher teach you the material afterward. Hell, the series as a whole has this problem where it relies more on memorization over reaction. It's a fine game, but not nearly the best in the series. Personally, I prefer Mega Man 3 in terms of the NES Mega Man games. I'm not saying you can't have fun with this game. I certainly did. But try and keep an open mind when it comes to, well, anything. And that's the word of the sleaze.
Hello there. How's it hanging? Fair enough. How would you like to work for me?
What are you working on?
conquering the world, all that jazz.